อันนี้เป็นเทปพิเศษของทกถามนะคะต้องบอกกับแฟนๆก่อนเพราะว่าจะเป็นเทปที่เป็นภาษาอังกฤษนะคะก็ขอบคุณทุกคนที่มานะคะ Thank you so much for being here Thank you for your time Let's begin How comfortable are you right now?
Very comfortable. I had my cup of espresso and a bit of water, so
Okay.
couldn't be better.
Okay.
Nice and comfy, at least not in the scorching heat of 38 Celsius. This is nice and comfy.
What about you?
It's still a little bit hot, but that's just life in Bangkok.
Let me tell you guys why I'm doing this. A, I want to interview each of you in English. And B, I want to talk to all of you on my show. So here I am doing both. Okay, so we're going to do it in English today. All right. I want to begin with a small exercise.
Okay, tell us.
Okay. This thing is called the jar of hearts. โหลดวงใจ I need a volunteer.
I'll do it.
Okay. Can you read everything out loud for me?
The Jar of Hearts. Dear students, how do you feel today? Before you enter the classroom, please carefully explore what's going on inside your mind and choose the color in the jar of hearts that represents how you feel. Yellow, if you're feeling happy and joyous, go for yellow. Orange, if you're feeling extremely happy or overjoyed, go for orange. Red, if you're feeling angry, frustrated, or irritated, choose red. Purple, if you're feeling scared, worried, or confused, choose purple. Blue, if you are feeling sad or you feel like it's so hard to smile today, pick blue. Green, if you are feeling disgusted, maleficent, malicious, please go for green.
All right, let's do it.
Okay, I'll go first.
Yes, yes.
There you go. Okay. I'll go with purple.
Kungo, tell me why you're angry today.
Why am I angry today? I think it's for the same reason as anyone would be angry. You wake up in Bangkok, Thailand, you turn on the news, you listen to what's going on.
Okay.
There's nothing happy about it. You come out of your house, you feel the weather, the scorching sun on your skin, the PM 2.5 in your lung, the smell and everything else. There's nothing to be happy about it. You drive your car out, it's congested, there's nothing happy about it. It's election times, you drive around, you see all these posters of politicians. It's necessary, it's election time, but it's also pollution. You're not happy about it. So basically, I choose red because it represents the real state of where we are at right now, the reality of where we are at, which is red. People are angry, people are frustrated. I am one. That's just reality. Now, if I can also choose another color, I would probably pick yellow or orange because they represent happiness and joy. Because in all of this frustration and disgust and despair and everything else, there must be hope. It's a very Miss Universe answer.
Yes. What about you? Are you worried?
Personally, as leader of the party, unfortunately, we're a little one, not a big one like.
No,
his.
no.
As I just became the leader of the party for about 6 months, and that worries me. How I am going to lead the party into the battle. Come the 14th of May, will I get more or less than the previous election? That's going to prove my leadership, and it's quite a challenging task as well. With the shadow of my father casting over me, and it puts a lot of pressure. And so therefore, 20 odd days from now, it's going to be a lot of pressure. I don't want to use the word scared, because I'm not scared, I'm just worried. And rather anxious and nervous about what will happen come the 14th of May. And that's about it. And after that, the 15th of May, it's going to be yellow. Whatever the result of the election is, it's going to be yellow. And if it comes out more than I expected, it's going to go orange. But then from now until then, it's going to be purple.
How often do you guys talk about your feelings?
All the time with my daughter.
Okay. What about you?
You mean what, this color or just my
Just
feeling?
in general, how often do you talk about your
I
feelings?
answer you including this color why I choose it. Usually I used to be frustrated, very upset for this country a long time ago. But this time what I have seen for about 8 years, let's say, I think that people now, they realize very well, in particular the young generation, that we need to change the country. This is the first time. That's why with this feeling, I'm happy that all generations, they know what is good and what is not good. I think that this is the time that people will do the revolution through the election. That's why I choose this. I'm happy with this, and I hope that they will do successfully.
Good. What about you?
Happy to be on the show.
Okay, you're extremely happy today.
Happy to be here with everyone here. Equally glum, that's for sure. However, I feel like for this election, for once in a lifetime, that the ballot is going to be stronger than the bullet.
Okay. Part 1 is about English. First question. Do you think a person's intelligence should be judged by his or her ability to speak English?
That's like judging a fish to climb a tree, because intelligence comes in various ways. It could be about linguistic journey. It could be mathematics. It could be the ability to implement something. It could be ability to work with teams, ability to think about your own feelings and manage it. So if you have that one particular KPI as language to measure intelligence of the entire diversity of our society, that's pretty much telling fish to climb the tree and then the birds that swim. So
I think English, well, multi-language would be nice, but to speak English and say you're intelligent, I think that means we have the entire British island full of intelligent people, the entire United States of America, Australia, New Zealand, and all those English-speaking countries to be intelligent. So, no, I don't think so. The ability to speak multi-languages, 5 or 6 languages, then that is a genius. But to speak English is just another language, another skill. Just like you said, I do agree with him. A person can have so many skills. Maybe language is not one of them. So it's just another little perk.
I lived in the States for 10 years. I lived in England for 10 years, and everybody spoke English fluently. I guarantee you, the smart people are no smarter than Thai people, and the stupid people are no more stupid than Thai people. So I don't think that's relevant. I think what's important is to speak intelligently. That's the reflection of your intelligence, because the words that come out of your mouth are a reflection of your mental capacity and also your emotional capacity, IQ and EQ. So speak intelligently regardless of the language, and that's the mark of a person's intelligence.
and now I'm waiting for the conditional second question that he's going to ask. Well, let's wait for it, but please.
I do agree with you that we talk about the emotion and reasoning we have in our brain or mindset. I study in France, okay? I saw many things there. They try to make us to think, as a structure, when you want to say or you want to write something, you have to think about first the introduction, what you will communicate with those who, contact with you. Later is the content, and lastly the conclusion. What do you want for the conclusion? The people, and finally, what do you want them to do, to think, or to go further? That's why I think intelligence and clever, you have to differentiate between these two words. Clever means that you can very good in arithmetic or in that, but intelligent is mean that the whole mindset and without much emotion. You have to look at everything reasonably and try to understand the people. That's why in my life, I focus on two things. When you talk about what are good things, good people, first, if you have a sharing feeling, if you want to share things that belong to you to other people, the first thing. And second thing, you have to be generous. You have to take care of the other, to think of the others as well as of yourself. And if we live this way together, the world will be peaceful. I think that war created by intelligent people, mostly, and not stupid people. Many stupid people, they are intelligent, but what they try to show in a stupid way because they want to oppress or want to exploit other people. For me, I agree with you that we have to have both. to judge things rightly.
This is quite refreshing, you know. I have to admit that I miss talking to people in English.
Say more. Elaborate.
I mean, I find it very difficult to speak English, you know, with Thai people because,
How come?
well, some of them might feel, well, I assume that some of them might feel like threatened, and some of them might feel like, you know, their English is not good enough. You know, some of them might think that, you know, we're Thais, why do we have to do this, you know. There'll be some comments today.
I see.
You know, there'll be some comments today, and sometimes I wonder, like, when is it going to stop? Like, you know, I know we're Thais, and, you know, we can speak Thai almost, you know, perfectly and eloquently. Like, why are we doing this, you know? It's simply because we can, and we want to show the world that, you know, we can do this as well.
The
You
thing
know what
is,
I mean?
we're both Thai and a global citizen.
Yes. So thank you very much.
English or Chinese is an instrument of communication.
Yes.
That's all.
And you know what I keep telling my students? I mean, you know, I keep telling them that once they think of English as a tool to help them communicate, they can speak English with anyone. Of
course.
Simple as that.
Or
you
any
know.
languages in the
I
world
think
too.
you just have to stop looking at English as a form of superiority
Right.
or inferiority.
Right, right.
I always say it's no guts, no glory.
Thank you. So let's, you know, carry on speaking English, shall we? Do you think it's necessary for a country's leader to be fluent in English?
I can go first.
Okay.
I don't think it's necessary for the leader to speak English fluently, though I do think it's an absolute must for a leader to speak democracy fluently.
Oh. What do you mean by that?
I mean everything by that. I mean, the fundamental problem of the Thai society is the lack of understanding of what democracy is, and that starts from the top. But we are saving this for the second session, right?
But just saying it or doing it as well?
Doing as well.
Or
At least say
being
it first.
Internalizing
At least
it, right?
say it first.
At least say it first.
At least say it so that people can understand you first.
I think English for a leader is not necessary, needed, or essentially required. Because when you are, let's say if I sit next to President Putin next to me, he's not going to speak English to me. He's going to speak Russian. And I will not be speaking English
And
to
that actually could be an advantage
Exactly.
for not
You have the-
speaking the language.
you have the time delay.
Waiting for the translator to
Exactly.
do it, and you have the ability to think.
Exactly.
And
And
if
you
something
understand.
goes wrong, and say it's translator's fault, not my fault.
Yeah, that's what happens.
Negotiation
always.
tactic.
You listen well, and then you let the translator translate whatever, blah blah blah, and then you just listen exactly the content what he's trying to say, and then you say it in Thai, and then the translator would translate it, so it would be like a double translation. And then we can say it's got lost in translation, whatever mistake that came out, and we can blame it on the translator. So it's not important to speak English fluently. You know.
For me, not a prerequisite, but what's important is to have foreign affairs or foreign policy on the top of the agenda, especially what's going on in Thailand today. Because I feel like globalization, the definition is definitely not the same as like 10 years ago, 20 years ago. And I feel like globalization is definitely eating up Thailand, and Thailand's not getting any benefit from that globalization. Whether it's tourism dollars, whether it's foreign direct investment, whether it's export. But we are getting PM 2.5 from all around the area. The vaccines are coming from abroad, you know, and all these pollutions are coming from various
Transboundary.
transboundary pollution that is coming in. So without a proper foreign affairs prowess, fertilizer prices, energy prices, electricity prices, LNG that's coming from abroad, animal feed that's coming, it's going up because of the decision that is being made 7,000 kilometers from here, from Russia and Ukraine. And if you keep doing, regardless of language, but you wanted to keep it as quiet diplomacy, bamboo diplomacy, go wherever the wind blows. Think about foreign policy as buffet and not an a la carte. So as a buffet, then you pick between Sino-American rivalries, whether to go towards this way and think about them as a big brother and all the investments and products and people coming in into this country, or like an a la carte. If there's something that is wrong with the Americans, then we call them out. If there's something wrong with the Chinese doing provoking peace in the Taiwan Straits, then we call them out. That's pretty much what Lee Hsien Loong and President Jokowi of Indonesia would do. Yeah. And when we group together, I think we'll be able to put Thailand back on the global arena, not just for the sake of being on the global arena, but also to control fertilizer prices, animal feed, PM 2.5, really the problems that's on the ground right in front of rice fields and animal farms.
A global mindset, to sum it up.
It's not a necessity, but if you can do it, it will pave you an access to more knowledge and to more contacts. For example, I can speak French, same like English and Thai. And this helped me a lot when for example, I met some Chinese leader who had education in France. When we, at that time, spoke English together, we felt something very far. But once we spoke French, we felt that we were like brothers, something like that. That's why, I like to quote one example, Japan. After World War II, I think the Japanese, they did not speak English, but they went everywhere. They did well until their economy become the second largest for decades. And now China, they pass through Japan, but Japan's still number 3. How did they communicate with other people? I think they communicate with the content. They can explain what they want, what they will do. I think this is the most important thing. If you are the leader, you have to have this first. And if you can speak other languages such as Chinese or Japanese or English, but English is a world language, world tool of communication rather. It's better if you can do that. And now the world is so close together, every country. So you need also, if you say that, no, I don't care about this, I think it's untrue. That's why the education minister, why we try to promote our children to learn at least English, because it's a tool of communication.
I definitely do agree with him, and what reminds me of this language being a connection is my daughter coming home taking French for the first time, and she keeps saying like "Parlez-vous français, parlez-vous anglais, comment ça va," and all this. And when she meets someone new at the swimming pool, for example. So what I'm trying to get at is like if you pick up a language, you don't even have to master a language and become a native speaker. I learned Nihongo, watashi wa pita desu, hajimemashite, onegai shimasu, ikitai ikimashou. And all these things, at least I can count. So when I meet someone from Japan, I meet someone from China, I meet someone from France, at least there's something that's icebreaker. That's like the very minimum of a reason why you should pick up a language. If you can go beyond that, become a translator and pick up a career, or become a trilingual person like Dr. Pokin, that's the benefit.
I have another question for you guys.
Okay.
For part 1.
Okay.
What is your definition of being a global citizen?
Being a global citizen is to be able to think and see on the global stage, not just beyond the boundary of the country, because nowadays there's no more boundaries anymore with the world of social media and everything is connected to everyone. You need to know what's going on the other side of the world, and to know that problem, is like a butterfly effect. Whatever it is, even for example the unrest situation between Ukraine and Russia, it's thousands of miles away, and it still affects our everyday lives in terms of energy, in terms of the price of fertilizers. So as a global citizen, you need to be aware of exactly what is going on and why this happens, and how we should be the jigsaw that fits into the world. I mean, to make sure that all 66 million of us, fits as a global citizen. You need to be able to see, to understand, and to know how the others think, and to know why such problems exist, and how we can be the integral part of the solution, not be part of the problem, but to see the whole world and to actually, be part of it. Just can't think of Thailand anymore. Just like when I said the next Prime Minister of Thailand, don't be just the Prime Minister of Thailand, be the Prime Minister of Thailand that the world is waiting for. Because it's not just enough anymore to be the Prime Minister of this country. You need to be the Prime Minister of this country that the world is waiting for as well.
I love the fact that all of you can turn my simple questions into something remarkable
Oh, that's politicians.
and long-winded, which is amazing.
That is also a politician.
I love it. But anyway, Anyway, so what's your definition of, being a global citizen?
Well, I studied philosophy in college, so I'm going to give you a philosophical answer.
Ooh, okay, I'm ready. I'm all ears.
To truly be a global citizen, you have to strip away national boundaries, racial boundaries, religious boundaries, because these are the things that keep us separated. These are tribal values. You strip those away and you see humans as part of this globe, then you become a global citizen. You find commonality and you move forward with that commonality, which is we are humans, we are global citizens.
Can we end this episode now? That was really good. Can we just say go home now?
No, I want to hear theirs.
Yes. Your turn. It's your turn.
Because you said it was a simple question, so I'm going to give you a simple answer in one word. Flow. F-L-O-W. Okay. Flow. Okay. And to be able to do that, you have to switch from inside out to outside in. Outside in terms of rights, human rights, culture, norm, values. If I'm talking about a concrete example, how I produce my products, or how I produce content industry, and I think Thai standards is the best. I can't export it anywhere in the world because of the quality measure is not there. If I think about my culture, this is the Thai way of doing things, and I try to promote it outside. And it's not even up to the international standards when it comes to culture, when it comes to human rights. Then, when we talk about soft power, when we talk about, content creation, it's like you're doing it for yourself to look at rather than being appreciated by people all around the world. So you have to be able to flow the people, the ideas, values, products, so a lot of things when it comes to global citizenship.
Yes, so you have to think about three things. First, culture. You have your own culture and you have world culture, different nationalities. So global citizen, you have to understand this, how to live with others, with different culture. If you cannot, you are not global citizen. Even in doing business, you have to learn, if you are Thai, you have to learn whether the American thinks A or B, the Chinese or the European. If you don't know that, you cannot have access to concrete contract with them, okay? Secondly, I think the attitude towards the others. You have to be very, very simple, very modest, and honor other people. If your attitude is like the old days that you look down people, you are not global. Because you think of yourself, you think that you are superior, while the others are under you or inferior. And third, I think the way of life. We are talking about nomad people, digital people who can live here or there. Talk about Thailand people, try to induce them to your country, to develop your country. These people, they think differently from ordinary people. Okay, they think they can work anywhere. They have knowledge. They want to sell the knowledge. They want to sell everything. They want to have the best way of life. They can stay in Spain or in Thailand or anywhere. These global people, this is a combination of this. That's why language is the most important tool. Secondly, you have to understand culture. You have to have a nice attitude towards other people.
This question is going to upset some people today.
Some people in this room?
Some of the viewers. Okay, this question is going to upset some of them today, but I'm sure you guys can cope. Right. What is it about being Thai that is not globally acceptable?
Thai rule of law for the time being, detention before trial, presumption of innocence, non-refoulement, sending people back to death in Myanmar. I think these top 2 or 3 things, if people look at, if Thailand is up to the international par when it comes to human rights, I think they would totally disagree.
Well, I came from a journalistic background and I spent a lot of time talking with diplomats, ambassadors, foreign investors, so I can tell you exactly what it is about Thailand.
So what is it? Because I want to be a global citizen.
I'll give you 3 examples. To this day, they still cannot understand how the 250 senators is considered democracy. To this day, they still cannot understand that how can a military coup be done by someone considered good. And to this day, they still cannot understand that why when they invest in Thailand, they cannot just bribe one person. They have to bribe at least 6 or 7 persons because you have at least 6 or 7 agencies or departments to deal with when you want to invest in Thailand. So these are just 3 things. I can go on and on and on, but hey, we have 4 people here.
Okay.
I think it's hypocrisy in our way of saying. And for example, the 5 morals in Thai, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not drink, etc. And for example, I remembered once, Public Company Limited in Thailand is trying to get listed on the SET index, and there were huge crowds on the demonstration. Said, "Oh, this is a company that's doing, alcoholic drinks, and therefore should not be listed in Thailand." I said, "Oh, come on, if that happens, then what about the First Amendment? Thou shalt not kill." And there is a public company limited in a public company in Thailand that's listed that kills millions of animals a day, or for example, that. Gambling, is also thou shalt not drink and all that kind of thing. And then there's drinking everywhere, and there's people against the casino, against sex workers and all that. So, and it's everywhere. So why don't we just put it on the table and stop the hypocrisy and just make sure we legalize them? I'm sure he would agree with me.
I want to add on that, but I'm going to give him a chance first.
Okay, for me, if we talk about minor things regarding this and that, which is annoyance, we have to talk about, 10,000 things. That's why I think that all the problem, let's say, of this country come from 2 things. First, the mindset, or we say that authoritarian mindset and culture. This dominates Thailand for more than 90 years. That's why, people who are the owner of the country, sovereignty, the wealth have been robbed by small people, by the elite, whether it come from coup d'etat or putting on the democratic church, okay? And secondly, it's the bureaucratic system that serve this mindset. And this is Thailand. And I think that everywhere you are facing this. That's why, for me, we have to liberate and empower the people. I used to be in the government many years and many times. I used to think that if we change this, if we, let's say, that revolutionize the bureaucratic system by the bureaucratic staffs, it's not possible. Because they would think everything for themselves. They create permission, they create procedures, they create everything just to back their power and not to help the people. That's why if you want to correct this, you have to liberate and empower the people. Liberate from what? First thing, liberate from legal matters, legal procedures, from permission, from licenses, I think up to 1,500. But I have an idea. If you want to do the law guillotine on this, I think that you have to have many lives, because it's not possible. That's why I think that if we suspend it for 3 to 5 years, maybe just having only necessary licenses, and the rest, you suspend it. You ask people to come and register and give affirmation that you will do things that you will abide by the law, for example. And how to empower them. I think the small people, what they need, there are 2 or 3 things. First, how can I have access to loan with low interest rate? You see, the big company, big capitalists, 2 or 3%. But small people, if you can have access to the bank, 8%. But if not, for shark loan, it's 10 to 20% per month. And how can they live? They cannot. That's why we have to create funds that help these people, low interest rate. Okay, just this. And what they need more, they want access to knowledge. They want access to market. You have to help them. If you can help these small people like this, I think they can grow.
That's a source of corruption, by the way. Over-regulation, it brings discretion.
Right,
And once you
right.
have a lot of discretion,
Right.
it's a source of corruption.
Because if we talk about corruption, many people would say that we have to have, harsh law, punish more, maybe, It's nothing, but you have to look at this. And if the government or the government staff, they cannot, take money from the small people, from their power, it will be, I don't know, not gone, but most of them will come up.
That's the end of part one. We're going to move on to part two. Okay. Are you guys having fun?
having fun.
อาจารย์พูดถูก That's what I like about discussions like this or even
Right.
debates. You hear ideas.
Do you like this session?
Oh yeah.
Here comes part two, politics. Let's talk about politics.
Oh, I thought that was it.
No, that was it. All right. One party keeps telling people to get over the conflict and move on as a whole nation. My question is, what's the conflict here?
The system between politics of appointed versus elected, and it's been around for years. The year I was born was 1980, and this year is 42 years apart. The Constitution was drafted by the same person. Before I was born, we were arguing about this, how to get into power. We were talking about military coup retaining power for 12 years at the time, until returning the power to the people because they trust the people are capable enough. This year, the system is still the same, and we're talking about 20-year national strategy without having any of us here to do whatever is right for the 21st century challenges, whether it's digital disruption, aging society, and things like that. If we go beyond that national strategy, then it's not going to be good. But if you look carefully or read carefully of that strategy that they were trying to do maybe like 8 years ago, none of them mention pandemics. None of them mention transboundary pollutions. So all these things are the system that keeps the conflict. The conflict was designed within the system. There's people who want to slice and dice us into different parts, so it's easy for them to conquer us.
I think it's the conflict between two schools of thoughts. One is one certain frame of mind, one certain school of thought, and the other have different ideas about it. Now, this entire conflict started, in 25. Well, I can't translate into the ADs, like 2549, 2550.
2006.
Yeah, around then. That's when the conflict started to boil up, and then one adds on to another. And today, no one can really tell us anymore what started the whole thing.
Or who started
Who
it?
started it? It's like two boys getting into a fight, and then he said, "You punch me first," and the other guy said, "You punch me first." Now we've reached to a point where we don't know who punched first anymore, and sometimes we don't even know, wait a minute, what are we actually fighting about? That is a very good question that you asked. What is a conflict? And who started it? At this point, I don't think it matters anymore who started it or what a conflict is all about. I think we are about to have an election in less than a month from now. And that should be resolving all the conflicts that we have. We get back into the political arena and, we set things straight. And that's when the people decide.
And allow me to add on, there's actually, within the system, a way for conflict resolution, and that's called parliament, where you have different polarized ideas, and you talk it out in the parliament and vote it out and move forward. But the system was designed so that if you have a military-backed parliament, and it's more of a political calculations and mathematics and all this, a version of appointed versus elected, so that it cannot be reconciled. So that's what I'm trying to say, that it's not just, different ideas, left versus the right and this and that, but it's the entire system that was designed so that conflict is profitable to someone. It's good for inertia. It's good for the status quo, that if you wanted to challenge it, they have various spots and bolts and knots that stop you from challenging them. So that's what I'm trying to get at.
I teach political communication at Thammasat. And one lesson is wag the dog, กระดิกหางหมา is a strategy in which politicians use to misdirect. And getting over the conflict is that strategy, is to keep people focusing on there's a conflict. Oh my God, there's a conflict. And when there's a conflict, you keep people divided. It's simply wagging the dog. Democracy is built on conflicts. It thrives on conflicts. In a society of 70 million, you have diverse opinions, thoughts, ideas, ideologies, so on and so forth. These are conflicts that we come together and exchange dialogues, exchange ideas, have argument, even curse each other out, insult each other, march, protest, rally, and every 4 years you resolve it in the election booth. And then we do it again.
Conflict and consensus. That's what he's trying to
Conflict
say.
and consensus.
Conflict is good sometimes.
The problem is, what started the problem is that someone decided to disrupt this democratic process by sending in tanks in 2006, in 2014. So let's not be misdirect. Let's rejoice in having conflicts because it means the 5 of us here can think differently and discuss it.
But we have to be able to resolve it kind of peacefully. Otherwise, we are opening up a channel for tanks to roll in again.
Elections, peaceful resolvement.
Okay, I'll focus on Thai politics mainly. The conflicts that you have seen now, 7 years ago, is not the first time. After the revolution in 1932, it's more than 90 years. These two post-conflict exist since then to the present time. But it changed. I mean, that I say that these conflicts, this is a darkness or rubbish. So once you have rubbish, you have the flies come from time to time. If you want to chase out this fly, let's say that the ball flies, the new call will come again because this exists. And why this exists? Two poles. If we analyze Thai politics, there are 3 forces since 90 years ago. The first one is feudal force. Second one is military force. And third one is democratic force, which is very weak, okay, according to the Thai society, system. Okay, these conflicts, you have always 2 poles. But these 2 poles try to woo loyalty, try to woo votes from your fan club. They must make people divided. If not, you cannot fight each other. So when you have your fan club, let's say at the present time, that's why some parties said that if you want to eliminate Prayut, choose me, landslide. And vice versa, Kun Prayut would say that if you want me to continue and not to let these people come, choose me as well. So the people are in trap all the time. And you see that I have lived since October 1973 and so on. People die. We have many casualties all the time. And it repeats again and again because we still have this rubbish. That's why I said that the authoritarian mindset and culture create this. Secondly, the bureaucratic system that serve this mindset keep this conflict going. And finally, you can see that the elite from both sides, what they get everything. And sometimes they can reconcile among themselves and not the people. One day you say that, I will not choose this man as a prime minister because he is dictator. And when you win, when you, after the election, I can join because of this, of that. You lie to the people all the time during these 90 years. And because our people is not intelligent enough to differentiate this. But most of all, because you buy people through various means, And now very, very apparently that I give you money through different ways so that you will vote for me. You get the money. You are treating the people as beggars. And how can you build a country if you don't build the people? That's why we tell everyone that we have to take care of the people from embryo to old age. They get stressed every day. Tomorrow, I will have money to buy food or not. I will have money enough to send my children to school or not. And when I finish school, I finish university, I will have good job or not. The job will provide me enough money to live my life or not. And when I get old, I don't know whether I will have enough money to take care of myself. This is the sadness, the suffering of Thai people. More than 90 years, we have to get rid of this. We are rich enough to provide necessary things for them. Once they can get this, they can upskill, reskill, they can do more for a better life.
Khun Phokin, if I may, you stated something about the people's intelligence. Can you elaborate on that?
Okay, when I said that not intelligent enough, doesn't mean that they are stupid. They are, deceived by money, by power, by influence. That's why this country is a patronage society. We need someone to help us. We need someone, a maverick, to come and help us. No. That's why some policy is like that. This policy will make you rich. Or when you go to the temple to see the monk as well. Or you think that you are suffering because of the past life. No, this is the actual life. That you have to stand up and talk to those who rob everything from you. This is the revolution, but we will not use gun. We will use pencil on the election day. That's why I want to ask my compatriot Thai people to light a match, to chase the darkness, to burn, the rubbish thing. And you will have a very prosperous life. You have to do this. This is, I call, intelligence.
I started out with system because it's inherited systematic conflict creation society because, it's very sad that we're talking about this year. I'm sure somebody talked about it the 10 years before, or decades before. And, on average, for the past 99 years or almost about 100 years, coup every 7 years, if my math is correct. One of the highest coup attempt country in the entire world. So I feel like that's not just about a personalized politics. It's not just about people or anything. It's about that kind of system that was so deeply rooted and inherited in the system. So it's not like a Superman or anybody who comes in and would be able to rescue us. All of us have to get up together and light matches in the hurricane.
Wow.
But we have to do.
And pass it on.
We have to do. We have to ask our people to come and chase the darkness.
Very much hope so in that day.
All Thai people, if we don't do this, we will live same. And you will talk about, I hate my country, because you have to stand up and do the revolution.
It's like a vicious circle that goes around and round and round. And, whatever you invest, you have to get back. And then people get not fooled, but they get lured by all these freebies. They get lured by, it's not that they're not intelligent. They are so intelligent that they have to make sure that they survive to see the next day, to make sure that they get to put food on the table.
Yeah, but it's not their fault that the system was designed like that.
Well,
the economic structure was designed like that.
I actually blame the people who
like
dish
that.
out all these kind of things. Yeah. I want to use the word sustainability, and hence, this SDG thing on my chest, and I want to make sure that it prolongs, not just a one-time kind of thing.
Okay, my next question is this. From your point of view, how democratic is our country right now?
25%. And that's because I feel like there's 4 pillars to any democratic country: election, control of the agenda, freedom of the press, and the ability to hold elections comprehensively and consistently, at the very minimum. And out of that, freedom of the press, control of the agenda. Yes, you go out and talk against APEC meetings and you get shot in the eye, that's for sure. Fourthly, to have elections continuously, comprehensively, and consistently. We will coup every 7 years, just like I told you. So just because we have election once in a while, whether it's free and fair, that's a different observation. But just to claim that Thailand is a fully democratic country just because we can go to the polls, it's not the case. And I have to excuse the economists for calling us a hybrid democracy, 50%, but I disagree with it.
Only 25%.
Oh, like I said, that's how I frame the answer. That's my framework thinking. That's if at least to call a country fully democratic, there's 4 pillars to it. And I feel like there's 80% of that one pillar. So I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt and call it 25%.
I cannot calculate into percentage, but I think that when you want to talk about democracy in Thailand, you have to have some benchmark. Okay, first, the sovereignty must belong to the people. This is correct. Secondly, the people must design for their government. But now, no, not that. And even this time, not that. Why? Because the constitution itself, it doesn't provide true democracy, the whole thing. And even the independent organizations appointed by who? By those who did the coup, by the senator appointed by those who did the coup. How can you describe that? You know, they just opened one small window for us for this election. And we jump onto this. Like last time with my previous party, they want to divide into 2 parties because one ballot only, just to get the party list from this and that. I said, nothing. Why do you want to play within the rule dictated by this dictator? How can you win them? No. That's why I think that we have to do, first thing, after this election, we have to amend this constitution. Make this constitution become the people constitution. Elect them as the people to come, 200, 300, it depends. And you draft the new one. Or, okay, maybe you have technical problem, because last time when we said that the new one, they said that you have to ask approval from the people first through referendum. Okay, we amend the present constitution without touching, for me, chapter 1 and chapter 2. Why? Because I think that we need to liberate and empower the people from chapter 3 onward. If we are dust in the military boot, no one hears us. You have to turn dust into stone that military will take out the boot. Only people that can change, but you have to make them strong and have confidence that we can change this country.
I thought it was going to be a therapy.
You're looking sad.
No. I'm just digesting. You know.
You're the purple one?
Yes. Give me that. Anyway, yes. What do you think?
I didn't go to MIT, so I couldn't do the calculation percentage. But let me just say that we are barely a democracy.
Barely.
Barely. 2 examples. 3 simple, easy examples. Democracy, 1, the right to vote. But you have 250 senators. Where do they come from? The right to vote still. I can vote for Bangkok governor. What about the people of the other provinces? Can they vote for their own governor? So that right there, not very democratic. Second, the right to peaceful assembly. I personally have been tear gassed from Brahma 1 intersection to Dindang intersection for 1 year straight, while the protest was peaceful. And the police came in and give 5 minutes warning and then start shooting tear gas. I was there. So the right to peaceful protest? No. The right to free speech, Computer Crime Act, Anti-Fake News Center, a prime minister who had his lawyer sue a young female rapper for speaking badly about him. Millie. So to say we're barely a democracy is to be generous. Because when we analyze the details of everything, it's clear and present that we are truly not even a little bit, not even at all a democracy. We're just faking it.
So different institutions do the same framework. That's exactly what we said.
I beg the contrary. Well, not barely for me. I think we're still fairly. I mean, the fact that we are talking about are we democratic right now? The fact that we are talking about it now is, we're still safe and sound in this room. So we're, to a certain degree, we're fairly democratic. No one's barging in yet, and and I think the fact that there are things going on. Nothing is perfect. And I mean, in some of the countries, viewed as being democratic, but as a matter of fact, is anything but democratic. I'm not talking about Thailand, talking about some of our neighboring countries. But for Thailand, I think everything that's going on now is in the wheel of democracy. We are developing, regardless of what people might think that we're moving backwards, but everything is a development to go forward. And the fact that, we're about to have an election less than a month from now, of course, we still have the extra phrase clause in the Constitution governing the 250 Senates. But after this, it's gone. And I'd like to reiterate what Dr. Pokin mentions about redrafting the Constitution. We had a pretty good Constitution, the 97 Constitution. My father was the initiator of that.
I worked for Israel at that time.
Yeah, I was still teeny weeny little guy then.
1997 Constitution.
97 Constitution. That was one of the, not one, but the best Constitution we've ever had. We had the best Constitution drafting committee.
Why do we need so many?
Yeah, that was pretty. That was a bad news because when there was the coup d'état after the 97 Constitution, we begged that please do not rip that apart. That was, I mean, if you built a house, a really good house, and then a window leaks or a door creaks, you don't tear down the entire house,
demolish the entire
burn down the whole house, and just because of a few tweaks and perks, and you just fix it. But unfortunately, back then they tore it up and came up with the 2007 Constitution, followed by the 2017, which caused even more chaos. So that's why, we still have a certain level of democracy. I think it's I'm a bit more optimistic than Kun Tim and Kun Go.
If I may add something,
Yes.
do you know how many words there are in the Japanese Constitution? 5,000. Do you know how many in the Thai Constitutions? Hundreds of thousands.
Well, we're quite verbose, and we love big words. We love words.
Japanese, the high Japanese is a kanji.
The Japanese draft by the US.
Draft by the US.
Draft by the US.
All right. Okay. Right. Answer these questions as quickly as you can.
Okay.
Okay, let's begin. Choose one English word to describe the government under the rule of Prayut Chan-o-cha.
Kakistocracy.
I have no answer.
Tragic comedy.
Robust.
Robust. Okay, great. Choose one English word to describe the current political situation in Thailand.
Crossroad.
I think turmoil.
Chaotic.
Soap opera.
That's 2 words.
Oh,
Soap.
Come
on, that's one word. Soap opera is one word, it's a phrase.
That's fine.
Save me some sweat, man.
It's fine.
I'm not a grammar police.
Anyway, what makes a good politician?
Listen.
Understanding democracy.
Sacrifice.
Inside the heart and not on top of the head.
That's a lot of words.
Because there's no rules.
Yes, forget the rules. Are you a good politician?
I'm barely a politician. I've been doing this for less than 2 years, never been elected. It's for the people to judge.
I do. I have done everything good for my country.
We'll find out on the 14th of May.
Trying my best.
Okay. All right, part 3. Everything, everywhere, all at once. These cards contain random words and sentences. You are going to pick a card. You have a minute to talk about whatever appears on the card. Let's begin.
All right, there you go. Toxic masculinity. Now, I really hate it because I myself I'm a feminist. And I truly believe that, in order to work, man, woman, LGBTQ plus, anyone is all the same platform. So the word toxic masculinity, I hate it for any man to exert himself, whether mentally or physically, over anyone. I totally disagree with that. And I believe in equity, gender equity, and also equality. And that's why my wife is always taking the lead in my life.
Good.
Tax the rich.
Oh, completely opposite. Oh, gosh.
I and my party, we believe in equity. We believe in free and fair competition in the market. But in a free and fair competition, you can't treat everyone equally because not everyone is equal. We are all ought to be equal under the law. But the reality of our economic and social situation is we're not all equal. You have the super rich, you have a small middle class, and you have a mass of poor people. So how do governments make money? How do we collect tax? Should we collect the same percentage from everyone? That's equal, but is that fair? So taxing the rich, having the rich shouldering the burden more than other people, that perhaps is the fairer system in order to make society more equitable, in order to balance things out, in order to give a better chance for those people who are not so fortunate, a better chance for them to compete, to give them a little bit more competitive advantage. And I'm finished 15 seconds ahead of time.
Good. Your turn. Come on.
Victim blaming in Thailand. So I would like to say that when you blame something, and that or someone, that someone will be victims of what you blame them. So in Thailand, because of this kind of dictatorship system, you have to have always the scapegoat to blame this and that. When you stage a coup d'etat, you blame the existing government of corruption of this and that. But it's the discourse. And when you come to power, I think that you do the same. That's why stop blaming anyone. Try to look at yourself, find good things, try to understand the others before blaming anyone.
Thank you. All right, your turn now. Come on. Oh,
Hope, oh dear.
Hope over fear, always. Fear is an easy thing to do. You could instill fear into people, especially when it comes to power, when it comes to voting, and you feel like, if you don't do it with your head, you're not going to be able to win, but sometimes you got to follow your heart, but take your head with you. And once you do that, that's when hope floats. Sometimes things can be very difficult, but you always have to look deep down in your side, personally and professionally, that you've done hard things before. And things is not going to get any easier. That's the fact that you use with your head. But it's inside the heart that you always dream of something better for you and for your children and other people's children as well.
We're gonna do more?
of course. Hello.
Blind me. I thought
Hello,
I'm
come
done. Why do I always get this? All men are created equal. I think not just all men. I'd say use the word all humans are created equal. Men, women, all walk of life really. We have the rights to do everything. We have the right to think, we have the right to act, we have the right to say, and I truly believe in the phrase all men, everyone is created equal. And I would hate to see such inequality or inequity in a social world in Thailand. Don't worry, because I'm coming to an end. So I truly believe in all men are created equal. I don't believe in inequality and inequity.
Good.
No man is an island, meaning no one is alone in this world, which I agree, no one is alone in this world. We exist in a society, and therefore we must march forward as a society. However, the current problem is one part of society wants to go this way, another part wants to go that way. The question is, the issue is, the future is, everything that everyone must be asking is who or what can bring people together so that we can go forward together and not just be an island floating in this lonely, dangerous, mysterious ocean.
I'm getting very emotional.
I make people cry.
Oh.
It's my specialty.
I'm going to cry today.
Is it okay for men to cry?
How appropriate.
I think it's okay for everyone, whether men, women, or LGBT. When you cry, there are two things. When you are glad, you can cry as well. When you are sad, you can cry. I think crying, it's come with the human. So it's a kind of showing your emotion, whether good or bad. That's why I don't have any comment. Anyone can cry. Men can cry. But if you cry of gladness, of what you are happy with, better than cry because of you are so sad. But sometimes you have to release it. When you cry, the sadness will go away.
Okay, tissue. Let's collectively cry. How ready is Thailand for the climate crisis? Far behind, especially if PM 2.5 is number one in the world in Chiang Mai, number 4 in Bangkok. and various things that we need to do about that. First is the electricity. Coal generation is about 20% of our electricity generation. That needs to stop within the next 10 years. That's part of our policy. Agriculture, low carbon agriculture needs to be done. I think that's a coalition among us within this room. Transportation, that's one thing. In construction sites, number 4, and also factories. And what we need for that is Clean Air Act to make sure that we have the ability and the power structure to stop climate crisis at the sources.
Thank you. And that will be all for today, guys.
What?
Yes,
Just getting started. But
that's it. Unless you want to talk about this card.
No more?
Let's do one more, just for the hell of it.
Can we do this one?
Politicians are hypocrites.
let's break the cycle.
That's right.
Politicians are hypocrites. Can we do this one?
So whatever I say is going to go against that card.
Good.
Enough. Because sometimes, if we go around and around and around, we will see the nucleus.